So let me just say this loud and clear for the folks in the back still calling us African American. We're not from Wakanda. We are foundational Black Americans, born here, bled here, built it here, and now we're gatekeeping it here too. Because let's be real, this FBA gatekeeping movement, is not just a moment. It's a long overdue political correction. And this week alone gave us enough proof of the movement's legitimacy to build a monument. So let's talk about it, because who will if we don't?
So I've been observing these videos that are like the diaspora wars. It's not a war. There's nothing about it as a war. We are simply saying who we are as a people, Black Americans. So there's nothing about that that's a war. But I have finally realized what the actual issue is. Based on the comments that I have read, right, there was one particular girl who said that I was saying, like, you know, the difference between Black Americans and Africans is very obvious. Black Americans are not immigrants. We didn't immigrate here. And a lot of us know where our great-great-grandparents are from, and so on and so forth, right? And so one of the girls says something like, do you want to be worshipped because of slavery? Do you want to be worshipped? And then I was like, bingo, I figured out what the actual problem is. From what I've gathered, the people that have an issue with Black Americans saying that we're Black Americans and not claiming being African is because they don't like the fact that despite us being stolen and sold, mistreated, all of the horrific things that have happened to Black Americans, they don't like the fact that we still rose, we're still great, we still dominate culturally across the world. They don't like that we're popular, essentially, and they don't like the fact that because we're popular, we don't attach ourselves to them. Can you believe that? And I'm not saying that's every single African. I would never say anything is every single person, because that's just not a thing. But I realize that that's the root of the issue. That is exactly what the root of the issue is, because they don't do this to anybody in the Caribbean. They don't say, oh, you need to call yourself African Jamaican. You need to call yourself African Haitian. They don't do that. They don't do that. They only have beef with us. And I think it's because of our history and what we have created here, and the fact that we are proud of who we are. They don't like that we went through so much trauma, but we are still proud of who we are as a people. And I think that is the root of the issue. And as soon as I mentioned the fact that if it wasn't for Black Americans, Africans, Caribbean, all of these immigrants would not even be here because of the civil rights movement, I got blocked. So when you say the truth and you make them acknowledge our value and the fact that we do have culture and we have major influence and we are the reason that they're able to be in this country and make money and send money back home and build, don't get me started. They block me. So that's definitely the root of the issue. They don't like how great we are. And guess what? Get over it or get with it. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you, because all we're asking for from the people of the diaspora is respect. Respect.
So let's start with the basics, the label. More and more of us are waking up like, wait a minute, why am I still calling myself African American? Like this is a damn hyphenated identity starter pack. The term African American is outdated, inaccurate, and let's be honest, a polite way of erasing everything we specifically built here. So let me take you all the way back real quick. In 2004, the New York Times did a whole piece exposing how Ivy League schools were actively favoring first and second generation African and Caribbean students over foundational Black Americans. You know, the one who actually descend from slavery. Anyways, the translation to that was they want the look of diversity and not the burden of history.
Affects African Americans in a very interesting way, which is actually both the universities and the corporate employers are literally, this is true, they literally import Africans so that they don't have to hire African Americans because they still count as Black. There was a great story. The thing that woke me up to this, there was a story in the New York Times 20 years ago about Harvard. This is Harvard admits, Black students, but which ones? Back when the New York Times could talk about these things honestly. And it quoted actually Henry Louis Gates and Lonnie Guinier at the time at Harvard Law School, basically observing that African Americans were not benefiting from an affirmative action because Harvard had figured out that they could import Nigerians. Right, and again, it's just like, great, the Nigerians are great, they're very smart, they're very productive, it's fantastic, all other things being equal, you'd like to have as many of them in your country, but like, is that really why we're doing, the set-aside programs?
And now fast forward to today, and get this, Elon Musk comes from a family of colonizers born in apartheid South Africa. He can legally identify as African American.
Trump is not playing, man. That's right. This time is totally different. He's working with the #1 African American in the world, the richest African American in the world, Elon Musk. That's right. He is African American.
Elon Musk is literally a walking Uno reverse card waiting to happen. And if that doesn't tell you that the term is deep fried, then I don't know what will.
Elon Musk is more African American than I am. Let me say it again. Elon Musk is more African American than I am. But he's looked at as being white. This man was born in Africa and came to America, which makes him African American. My family was born here in America. I was born here in America, but we're still considered African American because we were from Africa. This man was born in Africa, and he's still considered white. So this whole thing about we came from Africa, nah, y'all just gave us that name because we're of color.
This is why the FBA label is catching fire, because it's finally naming our specific lineage, labor, and legacy, and not handing it over to anyone with an accent and a tan. So, all right, now let's talk about this boycott that got people feeling tight like a new braid on a fresh scalp. All across the U.S., Black Americans are saying, yeah, we're not spending another dime in these African hair shops, restaurants, or clothing stores. Why? Because it's not about bad customer service or somebody being rude. It's about years of disrespect, cultural finger wagging, and flat out hostility towards the very people whose culture built the whole aesthetic of what it means to be Black. See, these stores love our money. Okay, they love our fashion, they'll take our dollars all day, but many of us are starting to come around the fact that they don't respect us.
Dear Black Americans, we do not care. We really do not care. No, we do not see you as Africans. We don't share any culture. You have no culture. You have no respect. You have no manners. You talk to people like shit. You treat people like shit. And now you want to boycott African-owned businesses. What level of jealousy is this? Well, of course, Africans are more intelligent than you guys. They are more educated than you guys. They are more cultured than you guys. You guys never listen to advice. You do as you please. You have mannerless. You don't see anybody. You don't consider anybody. And you think boycotting our business is going to break us? Because you guys were all broken into pieces and now you can't even figure out how to fix yourself? Shut the fuck up.
Black Americans are right to be mad. They are. You see, us immigrants, this country long enough, you should know that. The reason why we're here, the reason why we are allowed to be here is because of the work Black Americans did. Because of the sacrifices they did. Because all the fights they had to fight in order for us, for them, because they didn't do it for us. They did it for themselves, and it's right. But today we are enjoying the fruit of their labor. And we should not forget that. I'm an immigrant. And yes, in my community or in an immigrant community, and nobody can say otherwise, is a lot of disrespect for African American. Being in this country, for the amount of time I have been here, if I act like I don't know that, it means that I'm willingly demeaning them. They are mad. And you know what immigrants should do right now? We should not be arguing with them. We should be quiet and listen. Many immigrant community call them lazy. They're not lazy. They even say they don't have a culture, and that's an insult. Of course they have a culture. Of course they do. In the music, in the food, in the way they live their life, in the way they dress, they have a culture. And by the way, a culture that is a leader in many ways. Our children in Africa dress like Black children. Children in Asia dress like Black children. Children in Latin America, in Europe. So please stop saying, and it's not only limited to clothing. It's in music, it's in history, it's in literature, it's in science. You're going to come to people's house and you want to look down at them? You want to disrespect them? No doubting the experience, no undermining the experience, no forgetting the accomplishments. To Black Americans, my brothers and sisters, I apologize. Without them, we will not be here. Without them, we will not have the opportunity we have here.
So let's break this pocket watching down. In 2023, the Biden administration and the African Union came together and said, hey, Black Americans have $1.7 trillion in spending power. Let's tap into that. Keyword, tap in. Not share with, not support, not uplift, just access, like we're a bank with no password. And by the way, are we surprised that the current African owner of Essence magazine, Dennis Rich, was at the glorified pocket watching event, rubbing elbows with Biden admin? Hardly a surprise here. Anyways, here's the actual plan. They want to get Black Americans, descendants of slavery, to invest in Africa. Not in Black neighborhoods, not in Black schools, not in Black American owned businesses, but Africa, a whole different continent.
All right, family. So check this out. This is an article on the Africa report, and this is what it's labeled as. It's labeled as the Diaspora Initiative looks to tap into the $1.7 trillion African American purse. Let's get into this, because off the top, that sounds crazy. So let's dive in, right? African American buying power could reach 1.7 trillion by 2030. Projects the McKinsey Institute for Black Economic Mobility, but only a tiny fraction of it is currently ending up in Africa. So the first two sentences is telling you that their initiative is to tap in to the foundational Black American spending power. And currently it's about $1 trillion, and it's projected to be 1.7 trillion by 2030. And the Africans want some. So with the African Union and Joe Biden's administration, both promoting the diaspora as a key potential source of funding for the continent. That's crazy. I told y'all about these Democrats. I'm gonna read that again. Joe Biden administration and the African Union are both promoting the diaspora as a key potential source of funding for the continent. It's over. We not supporting Essence. I'm not supporting nothing. I'm not buying nothing, because Black people already know what immigrants come here to do, right? We know that all immigrants come here to drain us of all our resources. And this is crazy that our African brothers and sisters are targeting us. A few dozen investors and U.S. government officials attended the lunch at the South African Embassy in Washington, D.C. The half-day event was a precursor to a 3-day summit focused on the 16-member Southern African Development Community, scheduled to take place from March 6th to March 8th in Washington. This is an opportunity for us to take the diaspora's wealth and redirect it to include the continent.
Oh, now hold on before someone accuses me of hating Africa. No, I don't. We love our people. But let's be clear. That's not our homeland. Our ancestors were ripped from there, stripped of our languages, our names, and everything else. We had to fight to survive here. Jim Crow, here. Redlining, here. Mass incarceration, right here. So how does it make sense to take our money, ignore our needs, and use it to develop countries that don't even claim us unless Beyonce is performing? We're not sending remittance while our neighborhoods look like war zone. So here's the other issue nobody wants to say out loud. A lot of these African governments, they're not even helping their own citizens. So what makes you think they're going to help us? Meanwhile, the U.S. won't pass reparations. We can't get an anti-Black hate crime bill. Won't give us access to land or capital. We can't even get a freaking grocery store in half of our neighborhoods. But you want us to send our stimulus checks to Senegal? But it also looks like they're ready to hand us brochures like, hey, have you considering buying a villa in Ghana? This is economic colonization with a fresh coat of Pan-African paints. It's giving buy back Africa energy. But what about buying back the block? You want Black American money? Cool. Then support Black American causes. We are not your simping ass international sugar daddy. All right, so let's talk about what I like to call the culture tap dancers. The people who love to dress in our drip, remix our lingo, profit off our sauce. But when it's time to actually defend or uplift Black Americans, they suddenly are mute or worse, disrespectful. And we gonna talk about someone we know best, Drake.
Talk about my love for London rappers, the best lyricists in the world, mark my words. I don't care what nobody says. Nobody can out-rap London. Nobody. No disrespect to America, no disrespect to my country, but nobody can out-rap London rappers. This is the best, highest level. This is what I aspire to be.
Oh, so Mr. Toronto, the honorary Houstonian who built an entire persona off of mimicking Memphis rap, Atlanta flow, and Caribbean slang, is now saying UK rap is better than American rap. Imagine getting rich off Chick-fil-A and then saying Popeyes is mid. Let's not forget, UK rap didn't get international visibility until Drake jumped on Skepta's coattail and remixed Wanna Know, and now he's acting like Black American hip-hop is the slouch in the room. Let's really unpack that. Drake is the poster child of borrowed culture. From the Houston chopped and screwed to Jamaican patois to British slang to Arabic ad-libs, he's basically a walking United Nations with a beat behind it. But when it comes to Black American culture, the culture that birthed hip-hop, rap, R&B, and the very formula he used to make generational wealth, he's subtly apathetic, disinterested, and detached. It's honestly really giving like, thanks for the come up, but I'm the cooler kid now. And that's exactly why foundational Black Americans are drawing the line, because our culture is not a one-stop shop. You don't get to profit, bounce, and then insult the very foundation you built your career on. Now let's talk about N3on and French Montana, aka the hip hop parasite Olympics. So N3on, this little Twitch streamer turned controversy in a Hollister hoodie, got exposed again. Then French Montana, for reasons unknown to God or the Billboard charts, decided to co-sign the disrespect during a live stream.
I already ate. I don't need no Breakfast Club. SMD.
I already ate.
Wait. No, I already ate. Fuck the Breakfast Club.
No.
I already ate. I don't need no Breakfast Club.
But say it just like French. I already ate, like in the same cadence.
So now we're blaming Black platforms for being too honest while still running to them when a mixtape drop. Really, French? So let me be clear. N3on's career is built on saying the N-word on stream while hovering around Black entertainers for clout. He doesn't love Black people. He loves the access that being adjacent to Blackness give him. You know what it is. Followers, fame, and funding. And French, a man who somehow managed to appropriate 3 cultures at once and give nothing back to any of them. French was signed and launched by Akon, by the way, built his career on collabs with every Black artist from Rick Ross to Max B, and yet still had the nerve to stand next to someone disrespecting Black media. This is not just betrayal. It's literally cultural treason. But fast forward to the next day after he allowed French Montana to egg him on, even to the point of dissing the Breakfast Club in a featured track with Montana, N3on is now calling himself apologizing. Right. Can't wait to see how this plays out with his hardcore white supremacist followers though, but hey.
What is up, guys? I just wanted to make this video really quick to talk about everything that's going on the internet, things from my past, and just sincerely talk to you guys human to human. And first and foremost, I just want to take accountability, for everything that I've said or done in the past, to anyone that I've talked shit to anyone I've said anything insane to anyone that I've made a remark to. I'm very genuinely sorry from the bottom of my heart. Deep inside, that is not the person that I am, and I want to apologize and take accountability and tell you that is not okay.
The nerve for these men to bite the hand that fed them, burped them, booked them, and made them somebody. Foundational Black Americans are waking up and saying, yeah, you're not invited to the cookout anymore. Matter of fact, you never bought a dish in the first place. And then we're going to talk about the speedboat aura farmer. Yeah, a literal Indonesian boat child became Black Twitter royalty because of one viral video. Somebody laid a rap track over a video of a kid waving his hand in the air like he's summoning a Pokemon, and now he's being treated like the second coming of Tupac. So here's what happened. A clip went viral of this young Indonesian boy doing what's now being called aura farming during a traditional speedboating event. Cool, nothing wrong with that. But then somebody went and slapped some rap music over the clip, and boom, overnight this child became a vibe. Now everyone's like, yo, he got rhythm, he's tapped into the culture, he's a real one. Meanwhile, thousands of young Black kids dance, rap, style, and move just like that every single day and get ignored or somehow even punished for it. Teachers call it disruptive, the media calls it ghetto, social platforms call it low engagement, but when it comes from someone outside the culture, oh, suddenly it's fresh, It's artistic, it's pure. Mind you, they don't even have a thing to say about the actual artist who came up with the viral track that the kid was vibing to. I would love to see the odds of a black child getting this level of worldwide notoriety from vibing to Indonesian music, because probably it will never happen anytime soon. But let's be real here. They don't love the culture. They love a filtered, non-black version of it. The speedboat or farmer went viral because he's different. Translation, he's not black, but feels black enough for entertainment. You know, you get it? It's the same reason why an Italian kid says period and then get a deal with Fashion Nova, while a black girl doing the same thing gets nothing. This is what we mean by aura farming. It's not just a dance, it's a metaphor. People are getting famous simply by farming the aura or imitating the energy, confidence, and creativity that foundational black Americans created and often suffer for. So yes, we're gatekeeping now because everybody wants our rhythm, but not our reality. So at this point, we're not just saying no to the culture vultures, we're saying give it back. It's not about hate. It's about protection. No more labels we didn't choose. No more free sauce for folks who don't even like us. No more investing in people who sees us as walking wallets. Drake can go rap to the Queen Guards, see how they like it. I don't care. N3on can go stream himself reading MLK quotes he clearly never understood. And the aura farmer can meditate in peace outside a cookout. It was a cool video, by the way. Just want to say that. And this isn't bitterness. Is boundaries, because foundational black Americans, we're too generous with the keys to the culture. And now that the house is in shambles, we're changing the locks. Next time someone tries to tell you we're all African, just ask them to name your great grandmother's plantation and watch how quickly that unity talk evaporates. So next time someone wants to cash in on our creativity while clowning our identity, tell them we're closed for renovation. And if you're rocking with this message, don't forget to drop a comment, like, subscribe, and let me know how you feel about the FBA movement picking up steam. And please, if you see Drake pretending to be Jamaican again, report it. Not to the police, but to the ancestors. And I talk about black news all the time, so just stick around and support.